Was it all a dream? What is happening?
Boomer shooters are thick on the ground these days, and honestly most of them blur together. They chase the same Doom formula with varying degrees of success, and it's easy to overlook the ones that actually do something genuinely special. Forgive Me Father 2 is one of those games, and it's a shame it doesn't get more recognition. This isn't just a solid sequel, it's a confident, imaginative shooter that proves developer Byte Barrel understands what makes the genre tick. Yes, it's brutally difficult, yes, it will humble you repeatedly, but it's also absolutely worth your time on Xbox. What immediately stands out about Forgive Me Father 2 is how fully realised the vision is. This is a game that knows exactly what it wants to be. You're a priest, broken by guilt and trauma, navigating a Lovecraftian nightmare inside a mental asylum. The framing device works beautifully. The asylum acts as your hub, where you upgrade abilities and prepare for missions that manifest as twisted memories. University campuses, war trenches, sacred cathedrals. It's intimate, atmospheric, and gives weight to what could otherwise be mindless carnage. The narrative touches are subtle but effective. Voiceovers explain the horror you're experiencing, and environmental details like discarded leaflets and forgotten books flesh out the world. It's never heavy-handed, and honestly you could ignore it entirely and just enjoy the shooting, but it's there if you want it. That's good design. Here's where Forgive Me Father 2 separates itself from the pack. Every single weapon has multiple variants, each one more disturbing and imaginative than the last. The pistol transforms into a grotesque aquatic creature, the rifle becomes a mass of eyeballs and tentacles, the shotgun gets various eldritch makeovers. These aren't cosmetic reskins either, each variant functions differently and requires you to adapt your tactics. The reload animations alone are worth experiencing. They're elaborate, unsettling, and utterly committed to the Lovecraftian aesthetic. Watching your priest jam his hand into the rear of a fish blob creature to extract ammunition is peak grotesque humour, and it never gets old. The sheer invention on display here is staggering, especially considering how many boomer shooters just recycle the same weapons over and over. To unlock these variants, you need to hunt through each level for tokens hidden in secret areas. It encourages exploration and gives you a reason to replay sections, which is clever design. You want to see what these weapons become, so you actively look for them. This is where I need to be brutally honest. This game is extraordinarily difficult. Not in a fair, learned the patterns kind of way. This game will kill you from unexpected angles, drop you into rooms full of explosives with grenadiers already firing, and place snipers that track you through walls. There are moments where the difficulty feels less like a challenge and more like punishment. But here's the thing, that difficulty is also what makes the game special. When you're circle strafing through hordes of enemies, desperately managing your limited ammo, constantly moving because standing still is death, and the heavy metal soundtrack is blaring in your ears. That's pure adrenaline. The moment-to-moment gunplay is exquisite. Weapons feel weighty, enemy feedback is immediate and visceral. There's no room to take a breath, no time to pause and admire the scenery. It's relentless forward momentum. The weapon variety helps significantly here. The limited ammo forces you to switch between your arsenal constantly, and discovering which weapon type works best against specific enemies becomes second nature. The game has frequent checkpoints and a quick save option, which is genuinely merciful given how punishing sections can be. Without these, Forgive Me Father 2 would border on sadistic. The special Dark Tome ability you unlock after accumulating enough kills provides crucial tactical options. When you're surrounded and things look hopeless, unleashing these powers can turn a dire situation around. It's a brilliant way to introduce moments of agency in an otherwise relentless assault. The comic book art style is gorgeous. Thick black outlines, vivid colours, and a hand-drawn aesthetic that feels completely distinct from the pixel art most boomer shooters default to. The environments range from grounded city streets and trenches to supernatural locales, and the visual consistency is remarkable. The developers clearly love the visual language of EC Comics and vintage horror material, and it shows in every frame. The audio design is equally impressive. The metal soundtrack, whilst not always perfectly matched to the Lovecraftian atmosphere, absolutely elevates the intensity of combat. When the guitars start shredding and you're in the thick of a firefight, it's exhilarating. The gruff voiceover work has that noir quality that complements the priest's fractured psyche perfectly. If I'm being fair, there are some genuine flaws. The upgrade system, whilst more streamlined than the original, still feels somewhat restrictive compared to what's on offer. You can only equip a limited number of perks at once, which is understandable from a balance perspective, but it means a vast array of customization options go unused. The core shooting loop, when you're not in adrenaline-pumping moments, does flatten out occasionally during the 6-hour campaign. There are stretches where the combat becomes more methodical and the momentum dips slightly. The monster variety is decent but leans more towards twisted human reflections than truly grotesque Lovecraftian horrors. It works thematically with the asylum setting and the priest's warped memories, but some might find it less visually distinctive than the original's more openly nightmarish bestiary. Forgive Me Father 2 is an underrated gem that deserves far more recognition than it receives. The inventive weaponry, compelling atmosphere, and relentless intensity create something that feels genuinely special in a crowded genre. Yes, it's brutally difficult and occasionally unfair, but when you're in the zone, pulling off perfect strafes whilst watching body parts fly across a Lovecraftian nightmare, it's some of the most satisfying shooter gameplay available. This is the kind of game that hardcore boomer shooter fans will absolutely love, and honestly, everyone else should at least give it a try.
Finish him!
This energy is like a wild beast, almost impossible to tame, and ready to destroy everything in its path. Power and control rarely go hand in hand. What was meant to serve progress now serves as a tool of madness.